I am a young, black, rich. If that don't let you know that America understands black matter these days, I don't know what it is. Don't come at me with that dumb man.
Just thought that was weird shit. And I'm not no Black Lives Matter supporter. Like,
you're not?
No, absolutely.
Why not?
Because it's not our movement. This is a movement that was given to us by, you know, George Soros and his fucking boys. Google George Soros and Black Lives Matter, see what comes up.
Let's look it up.
Okay? Y'all out there, George Soros is a fucking multi-billionaire down with, you know, some of the 12 richest people in the fucking
He raised
world.
$100 million.
Yep.
For Black Lives Matter Coalition. The funding comes in addition to more than $33 million in grants from top Democratic Party donor George Soros.
We're living in a time of great social engineering, okay? Now, if y'all don't know what social engineering is, go look it up. Like, there's people out there that know how to scientifically make society do what they want it to do, how they want it to be done.
We all know, and we've all read the reports about Antifa being dispersed to all of our communities and starting these riots. So why are celebrities so hinged on helping them get out of jail, seeing the devastation that they have caused to our communities?
So I keep getting the same question. Gilly, you always giving up game. Why you don't get no game on Black Lives Matter? Because I don't get into that shit, nigga. All lives matter, nigga. I don't give a fuck if you white, black, blue, purple, brown, tangerine. Nigga, all lives matter. Y'all want a nigga to go out there head first, tell these motherfucking white people Black Lives Matter. But my motherfucking black life didn't matter to the nigga that tried to execute me, to the nigga that shot me in my motherfucking wrist, stomach, and my foot, the nigga that tried to have my mama singing It's So Hard to Say Goodbye. My black life didn't matter to that nigga. All the niggas I know been shot by niggas. And what about my nieces and nephews who half black and half white? Only 50% of their lives matter, nigga. And I understand the whole Black Lives Movement. We've been oppressed. We've been done wrong. Nigga, we do wrong to each other, nigga. We do more fucked up shit than each other than anybody.
It is in your hands to stop all the killing and all the shooting wherever it might be. Because you cannot say Black Lives Matter and then kill yourselves.
Black Lives Matter is a joke. You are the racist. The racist is you. It's because the white guy killed that you think they're racist. The racist, the Black Lives Matter. Go to Chicago. They don't have schools. And they die every day. They don't matter. Because you can get attention from that. Shut up! Nobody will hear it! Shut up! Group of hypocrites. Go to Southeast DC, Northeast, tell them Black Lives Matter. If it matters, it should matter everywhere. You guys are hypocrites. Attention seekers. Attention seekers. Black lives should matter everywhere. It doesn't take a white cop to kill a black person to matter. Everybody knows that black kills black more than anything. You know that.
When he said he personally doesn't see racism because so many of his fans are white.
I thought that was clearly a message that there was no such thing as racism.
There was a lot of backlash from people about that. Would you change it, what you said, or you still feel the same way? What's your thought on Black Lives Matter?
What is it? What do you mean?
The idea was that there's this movement called Black Lives Matter, thinking that the rest of America didn't seem to understand that Black Lives Matter.
It just sounds weird. I didn't know that you put a name on it. It's not a name, it's not whatever. It's somebody got shot by police for a reason. I am a young, black, rich. If that don't let you know that America understands black matter these days, I don't know what it is. Don't come at me with that dumb man. My life matter, especially to my.
Do you separate yourself from it?
I don't feel connected to a damn thing that ain't got nothing to do with me.
I would take Black Lives Matter way more serious if they really believed that Black Lives Matter. I mean, in all these urban neighborhoods in the country, from east to west, north to south, there's hoods, there's ghettos, there's killers that are illegal, they're criminals, and they terrorize neighborhoods. the same neighborhood they live in. I don't understand that. So black people are black people's biggest threat, not cops and not white people. So when black on black crime stops, when Black Lives Matter actually make me believe that they believe that black lives really matter, then I'll support it. But as long as it's a tool, it seems like it's a tool for an excuse for me to be able to do whatever I want in the world all of a sudden. Like, where was all these Black Lives Matter super militant people 10 years ago? How come all of a sudden, when Trump is going up against Hillary, they want to push this race shit? Is it because they don't want people to vote for Donald Trump and they want them to stay in the Democratic welfare slave system and they never want anything out of life? You know, never feel like they have to work for anything because there's always a check coming from the government or some kind of entitlement coming from the government. I mean, if I knew I was getting that check every month, if I knew the government was going to be there for me every month, I'd probably be lazy on my ass too. You know, and I could be. I'm black. I'm in the hood. Look, I'm in the hood. This is the hood. This is Pittsburgh. I'm in Hazelwood. Dudes drop out here. Ain't no cop killing these people. Ain't no white man out here telling these dudes to sell all kind of drugs. Ain't no white man out here telling these people to kill each other. That's black people. Them is choices.
The truth is that the left wants to strap black people to this idea that they are victims. They like black people to be government dependent. They don't like to see black people that are free thinkers and are independent.
But I'm not begging to be accepted or acknowledged. I don't want that. At minimum, I want you the hell out of my way. And if that was what the bulk of the conversation was about, maybe I'd be on board. But that's not what it is. It's oh man, we're tired of this oppression, Mr. White Man. Please stop beating us, but also include us. What the fuck? No. That's what the movement is centered around. They don't want to admit that, but that's when you look at, just read the room. Look at what's going. Look at the corporate entities and what they're saying, what they're going to do to combat it. It's all about being help. We're going to help you. And this is why the movement is centered around two different people. That's part of that. Black folk, pity. I don't even want to call it self-loathing. That's not really what it is, but it's like this pitiful garbage, right? It's like, woe is me. I can't do nothing. I need help. Then you got the other side. White folk, self-loathing, guilty, wanting to position themselves as allies. So you got self-hating white folk and black folk that want some sort of pity for being black. That's the two large blocks of this movement. I don't support that. Not with, and again, going back, this is when I talk about those two blocks of leftists, which is all this movement is, a very leftist movement. Those two blocks of those guys sit here and can't differentiate from myself and Candace Owens. In the event I don't agree with them, it's, well, you are like Candace. Anybody that knows me knows I'm not economically like Candace. I'm not philosophically like Candace Owens or anything like that. I might not hate her to the degree that you guys, I don't worry about any of that.
With you guys all being here right now, you see the topic says, Black Lives Matter, when? If you are a white person in here and you have, I'm serious. I want you to be able to just completely be real about this stuff, because when I look at this from a different perspective, it's almost like everything is being shifted to where things are coming to the point to where it's about to be racist against y'all. Y'all see what I'm getting at? It seemed like people don't even understand that it's almost turning black people racist.
A little girl is dead. You say Black Lives Matter, her life matters. police brutality. How about black brutality? There is real police brutality out there. I'll give you that. But night after night after night, murder, 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 murder. Black on black murder. You think the police are out here for fun? You think they're out here for games?
They do it for black people, right? Black lives matter. Black lives matter. But you want to defund the police for black people. You're lying. No, we're not standing with Black Lives Matter. We want our police. Refund our police. Refund our police. Y'all don't care about black lives. Get the pay. Y'all don't care about black lives. Refund the police. Refund the police. They say Black Lives Matter. They say Black Lives Matter, right? These are people who live in public housing. And you just made a melee. You took down bus routes. There are people who live in this neighborhood who have to go back uptown to work. And you are here profiting off of our pain. So you protest every single last one of you. You think about what it's like to be a black woman in this neighborhood who lives with people in public housing, who now have to walk through, who bag your groceries, who drop off your food, who defends you, who go uptown to a hospital to serve his community.
No. The question that I have in here, it says Black Lives Matter. When? When does Black Lives matter? Because I'm confused. And what makes the Black lives so much more important than all other lives? Because that's what it seems like is happening. You making Black lives seem like it's way more important than anybody else's life. You seem like black now. It's almost people wear the fact that they wear it with pride now. Not saying that being black you shouldn't be, like James Brown said, you black and you proud. Not saying that you shouldn't be proud to be black, but it shouldn't be a thing to where you are in a standpoint to where you feel like you are the only thing that matters.
But white privilege is not a real thing, because if it was, I could not have ever been successful because I'm black. People like Ben Carson could not be successful because they're black. And if anybody has an excuse for why they can't make it, it would be somebody like Ben Carson that literally started from the bottom, and he went from being in a low-income neighborhood to being a brain surgeon. Only in America does that happen. And only in America do we have the opportunities to rise to the top like none other. So before we blame other people and say, well, that's just your white privilege talking, and you don't understand real struggle, remember this. America is about honoring God and country and working hard. That's the key to getting to the top. That's the key to success. The difference is a financial status, not a racial one. So next time when you think about, well, let's make a racist issue out of this, think twice about what it really is and look for a logical explanation outside of race, because everything doesn't need a race card pulled.
Well said. Well said. Everything doesn't need a race card pulled. Yeah, there's plenty of corruption to go around. There's plenty of oppression to go around. You think my little white son has some sort of privilege? My parents worked their entire lives in this country, and they live in a trailer down the road from me. That's the privilege that my son comes from. In fact, you know, that's where they get the word redneck, is from Irish slaves. And that's what we are out here in the country, right? Rednecks. We come from the Irish slaves. That's my heritage. O'Donoghue. So it just makes me laugh out loud when people living in mansions like this. Me and my siblings and my parents, all of our houses' square footage could probably fit inside Kamala Harris's mansion. That is her family wealth from owning slaves. Irish slaves. The difference, though, is that I'm not racist. I don't have any desire to go burn her house down. I don't want her to pay me any reparations for what Hamilton Brown did or her family did. I just want to point out, I want to retain my freedom of speech and my constitutional rights. I would just like her not to enslave me. I'm not asking her to pay for the crimes of her family enslaving my family. I just want to point out that obviously it's not a skin color thing, because we have a woman of color who owned slaves from my lineage, my ethnicity. So I want to point out, one, it's not a skin color thing. And I want to point out that these people who have crafted this narrative that have driven so many people into mass hysteria and into mob violence, the people who are inciting violence and trying to start race wars, that they're actually very disingenuous. It gets a little tiresome to be told by people who are billionaires and multimillionaires how I somehow had some entitled life. And I don't deny that racism exists. Racism exists against me. You know how many times I've heard this week that I should hate myself for being white? I get it. I'm not saying that racism doesn't exist. But before they decided to start the race riots, Americans elected a black president of our entire country. Okay, let's just go through a few. Let's take golf. Can a black person succeed at golf? Or a biracial black Asian person succeed in the United States of America? Oh yeah, they can rise all the way to the very top in America. I wonder about tennis. That's sort of a John McEnroe thing. I bet black people can't succeed in America at tennis. I bet they're really oh, that's right. Yeah, the richest people in tennis, the very top, are black in our country. I wonder how that happened with all this racism. Well, I definitely know that NBA stars are some of the richest people on the planet. So I bet certainly there aren't any black people in America who are allowed to. Oh, that's right. They're almost all of the richest people in the world in basketball are black people in America. In America. I wonder about TV. Certainly, this nation would never allow a black person to succeed on television. Oh, that's right. Oh, the Oprah Winfrey Show. White Americans love Oprah, absolutely worship her and adore her. And she's a billionaire because of it, because we loved her and supported her so much. Again, you guys know I'm not a big fan, but I'm making a point here. In the movies, Will Smith, Denzel Washington, Samuel Jackson, Morgan Freeman, Bill Cosby, worth $400 million. Oh, we can't forget the music industry. Let me go over here. Richest celebrity couples, right? Beyonce, Jay-Z, the entire music industry. Some of the richest people in the world are black people from the United States of America. I just can't believe they can get people to believe that narrative that you can't rise as a black person and succeed in the United States of America. Or believe the narrative that somehow more black people are killed by police than white people, when it's exactly the opposite. And I don't think cops are above the law. Certainly not. Matter of fact, I've had a chip on my shoulder a few times in my life with police. My family's been really wronged by police a couple of times, by some really arrogant SOBs. But that was them. That was the people who did it. They were responsible for their actions. Not every police officer is bad. Going around and hurting or killing innocent people because of their job, that just is so ridiculous. Don't let these controllers, these social engineers, make you look that dumb that you can't think critically and make logical decisions. That no, obviously, just because one cop does something wrong, no, the cops aren't above the law. Certainly not. But what makes you any different than a murdering cop if you murder an innocent person just because of his or her job? That makes you just as bad as them. Then should people be protesting you? Like I said, I've had a bad taste in my mouth about police before, but I'm wise enough to know that that's not every single innocent person in the world who holds that job. I've also had 3 black guys break into my house, kick out a basement window, and break into my house when I lived up in Decatur. Yeah, and they kicked in the basement window and they came in and went in my kitchen and got knives out of my kitchen drawer and they robbed us and they took our big screen TV and everything. And you know what? I was very traumatized by that. I didn't feel safe in my own home for quite a while. I had an alarm system and motion detectors and everything installed, and it was very traumatic for me. And especially at a time when I had just brought home a little bitty newborn baby that I had to protect and care for. But I don't think that didn't make me racist then, that every single person with brown skin then is a robber. I believe those people who broke into my house were criminals. But not every single person who wears the same shirt they wear, or people who wear the same shoes they wear, people who have the same job they have, people who drove the same truck that they drove and hauled our TV away in. I don't believe that people with the same skin color as them, are all guilty of the crimes of those people. The people guilty of that crime are the people who committed that crime. That's it. On either side, I don't condone injustice. Nobody does. Of course, none of us like it. And we're all being enslaved by this shadow government, this worldwide cartel that trade us as human resources. They even call us resources like coal or oil, human resources. We're the labor force. So there's no doubt that people are oppressed. We are all oppressed, but we are not each other's enemies. They want us to think that I caused this to you and you caused this to me. But none of that is true. They caused this to all of us. This is social engineering. And we can see that from, take the Jussie Smollett case, that not only is this guy not oppressed and rich and a very successful actor on one of the most popular shows in the world, I mean, really made it all the way to the top. And since he was able to prosper and succeed in America and everybody loved him and he had this great life, he had to go and pretend. He had to stage an attack on himself to pretend he was a victim. But this is just one link in the chain that didn't go over as well as they had hoped it would. But I'll show you in a minute a montage of all of the celebrities, the politicians, the mainstream news channels. They're all doing their part to broadcast a narrative that is not true. I don't really do a lot of current events anymore. We all get what's going on. I've been preaching this for 2 decades. So it's not just that I want to weigh in on this issue or anything like that, but I do think it is important not to be silent. That we cannot be silent. That's how this happened in the first place. That's how we got in this mess. Head down, mouth shut, right? Now it's time for all of us simultaneously. If you have a voice, use it. It's not going to change the fact that we are in the middle of the Marxist revolution and this thing is coming. We're going to have to go through it to get to the other side. It's not going to change that. But every lost soul that we can reach, that's what this is about.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick them.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
Biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look, as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
So, I mean, it's not even about protest. They're not like trying to protest. They're actually rounding people up. They're saying, you are not allowed in this area anymore. And these people are oblivious. I hope this wakes them up because this is in New York. In what, Rochester? So, you know, they voted for these liberals who promote this stuff.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.